Hey there everyone, Luke here, and I'm not going to be around the bush here. We're approaching a very critical point in the final battle between the family and Asa, so let's not be around it anymore. Let's just dive right into the chapter. Okay, so this is with chapter 250 titled Division. Obviously a reference to one of Asa's bloomings, one of the bloomings that he has, which is obviously Division. But it also goes on referencing the various paths that everyone has taken. So we have the division with everyone attacking Asa, and then we have the division of Koricho discussing plans with Momo, and then obviously you have the twins Hifumi and Alpha getting into their scrape. But yeah, seriously, the fact that we're at 250 and we've not even got the announcement of the end of the series yet, yeah, I think we've still got a little bit of time before we get to that ending because of just the back and forth that goes on in this chapter. It's mind-boggling of how like it can go either way at this point. Like Asa could be defeated right here, or he could survive to kidnap one of the kids. Like it could go any way. So yeah, let's just find out what we're going to get into with this chapter. So it starts off with the ending of the last chapter where we have Futaba saying to the twins, okay, we're going to take down Asa, we're going to distract him as much as possible, so you guys continue on your path right now, and hope for the best essentially. And Alpha and Hifumi are just like, okay, yeah, thanks Auntie Futaba, let's get out of here, Alpha, yeah, let's get out of here, Hifumi. And then this is where Asa as Tayo goes like, oh, I see, they're going for the ship, like, because Asa is pretty damn smart, like I've been saying, he's pretty damn smart, so he can determine like, okay, I see what they're going on here. Ah, they're going to the ship. I see. And then you just see this panel of just like Asa in Tayo's body, like just the intense rage of him just like blowing up, just like, Momo, they're going after Momo. Oh, before we actually cut over to Koricho, who is seeing Momo as Tayo, as Asa Tayo is going like, no wonder the eldest hasn't joined you yet. If my assumptions are correct, that he's gone to ship to find Momo so he can use, so he's basically figured out like the whole plan, like. And this is what I assume I expected to happen. Like Asa was pretty much going to figure out like what is actually going on. And like, I've taken over Tayo, I've taken over his body with my conquest grooming, so it's more than likely that they're going to figure out a plan. Like, okay, they're going to get me out of here. So yeah, it was kind of obvious that Asa would have figured this out, and I'm pretty sure they should have like realized that. Yeah, he was going to figure out like, okay, they're going to try and get me out of here. So we've got to figure out a double cross of a double cross of a double cross, just stacking layers upon layers upon layers of this plan. But yeah, essentially, like I said, Asa has figured it out that, oh yeah, they're going to try and remove me from Tayo as we go on to get at Asa's thoughts on the situation. That it's a simple cryogenic storage system that should regain consciousness as he fawns. Several things make more sense now. I've noticed that this body is ever so lightly, so he's basically realizing like, okay, yeah, this body is refusing to accept me, because even though I've used conquest to fully take over this body, it's refusing to accept me, it's resisting, and that's likely because it's the part of Momo putting ideas in Tayo's head of interference and in interruptions, and you've put up a damn impressive struggle, Momo. So all of this is exactly what I expected. So yeah, there was no way that Asa, for all his ingenious intellect and everything, wasn't going to figure out that, yeah, this was exactly how they were going to go about with this plan. And this is what I'll always praise Asa for, and praise Gondario Sensei for creating Asa, of just giving us like this really intelligent, almost on Aizen level intelligence level of villain, of the fact that even though the Yozakuras are figuring out all these plans and figuring out counters to Asa is always going to be one step ahead of them, thinking that, like, yeah, he knew, like, okay, I've got these plans in place, and I honestly expect them to actually figure this out, because he knows his family. He's been watching them from the shadows for decades upon decades upon for centuries even. So he knows like this family inside and out, and knows like the the strategies that they'll come up with and the best ways to counter them, and even knowing that, okay, I know these plans, I know how they're going to work, how are they going to counter it? I've got to figure out all these different methods of how they're going to counter it and how I can counter their counters to my counter. So, like I said, really smart villain, really intelligent, very terrifying and very powerful. So this is how you write a great villain, where you can, like, okay, he is always one step ahead of the heroes, and it's just going to be even more satisfying when they do eventually take him down. But praising Asa aside, this is where Karicho is just like, Asa? As if like, oh, this is all Asa's doing. Like, as we get Asa going on to say, thus I exhaustively studied all the buildings that existed. Like, he even brings up the fact that, yeah, I've not been able to fully comprehend all of Dream's abilities and being able to fully master them. I am no fool. I will not allow potential threat to go unchecked. See, that is smart. That is smart right there. Like, I'm surprised Momo didn't figure this out. Like, Momo going in all his craziness and all his messages and everything, didn't, like, foresee this. Like, yeah, Asa hasn't fully mastered all everything to do with my blooming. Now, we can use that to counter him. He's never thought of the fact, like, yeah, he is not, Asa has not fully mastered my blooming or my dreams and everything, so there is no way in how he's not going to figure out, like, yeah, something that I don't know the potential threats on, I'm not going to bother with that. No, Asa is thinking of everything here. Everything to get this plan of his going. So, like I said, whoever wins this fight, it's going to feel earned. I feel like that's the thing that Gondario Sensei is bringing it to the table here, like, because you get this thing where it's like, in many major final battles where it's like, unbeknownst superpowers are just pulled out at the last minute, like the Stone Silver for Bleach. Thank God in the Bleach Fantasy of Blood War they're actually foreshadowing that properly in the anime compared to the manga. But yeah, with this it's like, no, everyone is thinking of everything and how things are going to counter things that are going to counter this and that and everything. So like I said, the victory is going to be earned for whose side actually wins, whether it's this fight or possibly the fight that is coming up. So glad that they're thinking out that, like, because it would have been so stupid of Asa to be like, yeah, you've got this blooming here, you've not fully mastered, and you're going to leave that unchecked. Yeah, Asa was not having any of this, and this is why he used Division to place a piece of his soul inside of what. God damn it, Asa, you clever bastard. So yeah, Asa, foreseeing everything, is just like, okay, so I'm going to place a piece of my soul into Momo, and like I said, the fact that we have this idea of, like, Asa being able to fire out his souls and place it in different objects and people and everything, yeah, no surprise that he would put it in Momo to be like, okay, I'm going to keep, because I don't know all his abilities, I'm going to keep it in check by placing a piece of my soul into it and using it on those children of psychosynthesis were merely an interesting thought experiment. This was the true purpose of Division. You will not use Dream. He's basically acting like a god mode here. It's like, oh, you think you're going to get one up on me? Nope, you're not going to use Blooming. Like, I'm going to use my cheat code right here. Yep, not going to use it. Blooming, I will not allow it. And forget this battle, forget your bonds, drown in a pleasure of a present dream of eternity. As we see Momo. Okay, so we see Karicho still in the lab with Momo, but then we see, like, so I guess this is kind of like a dream area that Karicho is in, that Momo is coming in with the power of the soul inside Momo, with, like, Asa's doing the power of the soul that he has inside Momo to create a dream scenario for Karicho. I guess that's what's going on here. But anyway, we cut back over to the battle between the siblings and Asatara, where it's like, the resistance was only a fragile thing from the start. It would fade with time. My conquest would eventually complete on its own, and this body would truly become mine, as it has just now. As we see, like, the body kind of mutates into, I assume, is Asa trying to get control of Tayo's true spring blooming of softening here. I guess that's what's kind of going on here. As he's like, I see. So this is Tayo Yozakura. magnificent. With my knowledge and experience, I can fully use the full depths of his ability. So yeah, he is basically using like acid, Tails True Spring Blooming here to slam the fist into the ground and create a huge explosion of Ogre Cherry Blossom fangs, just blinding everyone here. And this is where the twins are just like, a noise from below. And yeah, they're just like, oh yeah, something is coming up here, so we gotta get out of here ASAP. So Alpha, use your watch, and I'll use my own, and we're gonna get out of here. So using his watch as kind of like a safety belt for the two of them, Fumi brings her yo-yo, just has it above her head, kind of like she's going to use it as a grappling gun. Kind of, she's like, okay, are you ready? And Alpha's just like, yeah. As we see them being blasted from the bottom of like the area they are, straight up into the ceiling, through one layer, through another layer, through another layer, as we see just like this explosion of just like Acid Tail using the Ogre Cherry Blossom fangs. So it's just like an explosion that's just coming at them, and they're just like, okay, we're gonna get out of here. And they keep going up and up and up, but the explosion just keeps going after them, moment by moment by moment. And it just still keeps on going as Alpha is just like, Alpha and Hufo are just like, what the hell is going on? What is that that's trying to chase us? And they're just, I don't know. But they do see that fragments of fissures of everyone. And I guess that they are fissures of just being like, keep going on. We're all right. You guys have just got to get out of here because you're the primary target of Asa, so just get out of here as quickly as possible. And as they're doing this, we see a certain hand just go, and at this point it produces a cat, which we obviously know is Knee, like the whole cat thing is Knee's powers and personality. And even Hirofumi just recognized, like, no, we do see her. So we see Knee just using, like, I assume an ability to protect them, like a fragment of explosion to protect them, as Hirofumi's like, wait, that's the cat-eared lady. So maybe, like I said, this might be the case of, like, yeah, Asa has basically come out and said, like, I don't care about my kids. They were just parts of me that were created from fragments of Sabumi. So yeah, they're just fragments for me. They're not really my kids, so I don't really care about them. They were just used as fodder to attack you guys. I feel like Nia's just being like one of the people who are just like, okay, yeah, I'm not going to listen to that anymore. These kids, like this family, but particularly Hirofumi, has treated me like a regular human, whereas Asa, who's supposed to be my dad, has treated me nothing more like an experiment. So yeah, I feel like Nia is the first person. I feel like everyone is going to be like, yeah, we're not following your orders anymore, Asa in Tail's body. The fact that you've taken over Tail as well, like that's something that's gone a bit too far there. So yeah, I can definitely see Nee being one of the few of them that is going to be like, yeah, I'm done taking orders from Asa, especially after everything she's been through. And we see just explosions galore as the kids make their escape. But Asa and so yeah, from what? Oh yeah. No, I have just spotted it right now. So you see explosions happening, the kids escape, but then you cut back to Asa in Tail's body going, you all did extremely well. That was a praiseworthy effort. So and I'm seeing here Shinzo, I assume this is Kengo, but yeah, I'm seeing a group, some of them completely defeated on the ground. So yeah, that was like that attack was just like a decimation that just decimated a bunch of them. And the fact that it took out Shinzo, like one of the top 3 fighters of the Yozakura, that just gives us strength to how strong Asa truly is. So after Asa has decimated many of the fighters of the Yozakura, we see him coming face to face with Koricho for the first time in quite a while, like pretty much the first time since Asa took over Tail's body here, as Asa goes on and says, your attempt to resist your fate is a grand chapter in the Yozakura's storied history. Like, he's basically doing like the typical like monologue of just like, you really did grand. I praise you for that, and your efforts will be remembered in the annals of Yozakura history, guys. I shall remember every one of you for eternity. But at this point, Koricho is just like, you really think I'm going to stand there and let you monologue? Yep, nope. Grabs him by the throat, is like, don't bother, because today you are gonna die, my friend. You are gonna die. So yeah, and okay, this is like confusing. Like, so we have so I guess it's like what Creature is seeing Creature is seeing the fragment of Asa out in front of him in the dreams. In reality, all he's seeing in front of him is Momo. I guess that's kind of how I'm interpreting it. If anyone else has got any other interpretations, like what's going on with Creature and the dreams here, like from what I'm seeing here, from his perspective, he is seeing Asa as Tayo in the streams area, but in reality, he's only looking at Momo and he's only speaking to Momo. I think that's how it's meant to go. I think that's how it's meant to be interpreted here. But yeah, regardless of that, it's like, yeah, don't bother saying anything else because today you're gonna die. And I'm just saying it right now, Koricho, if there was ever a time to bust out your true spring blooming, this would be the time when you've got a fragment of Asa with you right now that could be weakened. Now would be the time to bust out your true spring blooming. And funny enough, we actually do get a mention of his true spring blooming in this chapter, so like all this build up to what Creature's true spring blooming is, as we see his eyes open. We see his eyes opening, like whenever his eyes open, you know, like that's his power activating. So oh my god, I cannot wait to find out what his true spring blooming is. Is this the one that I'm like, I have no idea what it could be. Like what would be like an upgrade of Void? But anyway, they go on and say, oh, he broke out of dreams without using okay, so yeah, it was like a dreaming's ability. It was like from his perspective, that's what he was. That's what he was being made to see, but in reality, he was just staring at Bobo. So okay, I'm stupid for not realizing that. So yeah, it's like okay, he's broken out of dreams without using Arcane, the goddess web. So the fact that he didn't even have to use that ability that he had to use the first time to break out of dreams, that just shows how much stronger Creature has actually gotten over the years. As we get a flashback to Koricho with looking over Momo's face. And Momo's made more tapes than Jigsaw in the entire Saw series. I mean, you know, it's like he's got a message for everyone. He's got messages for this and that. Like Momo must have like had sixth sense to know, like, okay, where is someone going to be at one time? Like, what I'm going to have to say to them in this tape and that tape. Like, seriously, him and Jigsaw could make a great record shop just selling all of these DVDs, videos, VH, like whatever, just of these messages. Like I could seriously see that as like just a like silly little spoof of Mission Yozakura X Saw, where you just have Momo and Jigsaw just standing out tapes for every person that comes in. It's just like, how do you know what I'm gonna say or who I am or what do you have on me? Like I could just see that as just like a fun little parody. But this is where we get the idea of like why Koricho cannot just like bust out his true spring blooming, because Momo mentions in this tape is like, okay, your true spring is an ace in the hole, like it's the thing that's gonna turn the tide of this battle, but it's also the very dangerous kind of power, because unlike Void, which is a power that you direct outwards towards your opponent, this is a skill that you direct inwards. It is incredibly powerful. Like, oh my god, what would it be? Like, what would that actually entail? Sorry, my phone just went there, so if you heard like the that was just my phone going. But seriously, like, what would be like something inwards, like Void? I'm trying to think of like what it would be called. So, but we know like that it does make sense that would be the opposite. Like it would be an internal rather than an external. I'm just trying to figure out like what the name of it would actually be. So yeah, it's incredibly powerful, but with it, you can forcefully biting the operations book on course. You can be forcefully bringing back the operation on course, but it's very daring, but that it basically causes harm to Creature's body, like if he uses his true spring blooming, and when people do use of it would endanger his life. So I guess like it would be Soul or something like that. Like maybe that's what it'll be called, Soul. like it affects the actual soul of someone. Calling it now, like courageous truth being brewing. Void just obliterates everything in its everything internally, where soul would obliterate, like it would be like it goes into the soul of someone and just rips it to shreds. How scary of an ability would that be? So yeah, that's what I'm calling. I'm calling Creature's True Spring Booming Soul, and basically how I feel like it will be work. It's like what I said. He goes into somebody's soul and uses fragments of his soul. It's kind of like with Nemu's ability from Bleach. Like, you know how Nemu, which we've got the fight with Panida coming up in the anime, where she shaves off pieces of her soul to fire as attacks at enemies, and the more that she uses, the more that it's going to deplete her actual soul, her spirit. I feel like that's going to be something similar to what's going to happen here with Kuricha. Like, he'll shave off a piece of his soul and just use that as an attack to attack the soul of his target inward in like the inner most vulnerable part of a person themselves, their actual soul. Like, that's like the bare basics idea of what I can get down to the letter of how his true spring is going to work. And if that's the case, that does make sense why you can't use it repeatedly over and over again, because like Mona says here, it's like, use it only once. I'll say it again, for your sake, creature, don't use it more than once, because it's going to endanger your life, and that would make the most sense for a really OP but also very risky ability. As Creature says, I know it isn't the time to use this, even if it's just for my sake, but I'm sorry, Dad. Risking my life for victory, for my family, it's an easy choice for me to make. And you know, like, Creature is like, yeah, I need to do this for my family, because even though he is a complete tsundere, complete pervert sometimes, he cares about his family. Deep down, he absolutely cares about it. He would go to hell and back for his family. He literally was just like, I'm going to fight this. I'm going to fight my father. I'm going to fight all the heads of the family and not get anyone else involved in this family, because they're more important to me than my own life. Even Tile, despite everything they've been through, despite the fact he hates every fibre of his body, he still cares for Tile as a brother. Even though he tries to kill him on more than one occasion. But yeah, so we know that Creature is going to be like, yeah, this is an easy choice for me to make. If it means I have to give up my life to save my family, to get rid of this threat, I'm going to do it. And like I said, if there's any character that would be the one that would actually die in the series, I could see it being Creature. I feel like that would be the perfect bookend for his character. Like, the guy everybody hates, everybody despises most of the time, but deep down that they care, gives his life so that the family can move on and can grow and be stronger for his sake, because of his sacrifice that he does, and just everything that he's done over the series. Like, put his own thoughts, put his own feelings, put everything that he has into his family, and kept them safe, kept the family going strong, being like the strongest sibling, and risking his life on very big missions to save the family. I feel like that would be the perfect bookend. Like, he gives his life to save the family, and he says to Tao, like, even though it pains me to say this, you are the one that has to protect Mutsumi from now on. But if you don't, my spirit is going to come back and haunt you for the rest of your life. I feel like that's how it will end. If they do go down this road of Koricho actually sacrificing his life to save the family. But we cut to the final scene of the chapter where we have Hiyofumi and Alpha waking up as they're like, oh, are we inside the ship? Your blooming and the explosion blast were enough to fling us all the way up here. And they're just like, wow, really? That actually did that? As we see them walking around this lab somewhere. And you know that when labs are involved, there's going to be certain characters that are going to be appearing, and one of them is going to be appearing right now. As they're like, great, the ship's interior jammer won't let me scan here. I can't pinpoint the location, as we see a voice going, this is my room. Dreams hold no sway here. I'm keeping it at bay with my part. So that makes sense why they're not being affected by dreams, even though Asa did state like dreams all over the ships. As we see, it's Tsubumi. Tsubumi is back after so long. This is probably the first time she's actually spoken since the time skip. Let me know if that's the case. That this is the first time we're not only seeing her, but also the first time where she's actually spoken in the time skip. I mean, we might have seen her in the background, but I feel like this is the first time since the time skip that she's actually spoken. So she's like, descend to my board, Momo's prophesied children. This day has finally come. I will tell you what you need to do in the future. Let's bring it into the old Yozakura to my father and I. And that's where the chapter ends with them just staring down Tsubumi. So, you see Tsubumi just like, she is just like, at this point, like, just like, I want to die. Just let me go. Let my suffering over 300 years go so that I can rest in peace and get my father out of this world, my psychotic, evil father out of this world. Like, let's just end this right now. Bring the end of the old Yozakura and the beginning of the new Yozakura. So, what a chapter. What a chapter. We got so many, like, so many revelations here of just like Asa knowing the plan of everything and doing everything in his power to overthrow their plan, but Kurucha being like, yeah, that's not going to work on me and you're going to die today because I'm going to activate my true swing will to rip your soul to shreds, even if it's like cost my life. And we see the Yozakura kids staring down Tsubumi, who's just like, I'm going to tell you everything that you need to know so that the future is in your hands and you can get rid of my father and me, because we need to end this right now. This has gone on so long. We need to end this suffering. So the big questions that we need to take away from this chapter is like, what is Kurucha's true spring blooming? Is it what I'm thinking it's going to be? Like he shaves off parts of his soul to rip out Asa's soul, like fade it into oblivion, kind of like what he can do with his void, but on just a much more interpersonal level. And what is actually Tsubumi's going to be saying to the kids of just like, okay, this is how you're going to have to defeat my father and get rid of me as well, so that we can, so that you guys can essentially have more a decent life without having to have this suffering going on. But that's something that you just have to wait and see, as well as me. So anyway, guys, what did you think of this chapter? Let me know. Like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. And this will be Lasher Luke signing off. Later, guys.